Alright, sun's going down and I have got the light on the camera. I think I got enough battery to do this. We are at the cliffside. You can see a bit of the river down there. 250 or so feet down. And, well, I'm up here because it's the Battle of the Bedstraws. Common names on plants are difficult. And it's been recently asked of me, are these all bedstraw? Wild Edibles asked me this. Why are some of them bigger? And some of them smaller? And some of them grippy. I don't know if you can tell, but that's dragging me with these little grabber hairs on the back of them. Truly it is. But here you can see large and small, definitely all in one plant. But this plant is only grippy. This is commoner's bedstraw, if you're being picky about it. And I also have proper bedstraw. And they also have different common names. This is a trouble with common names. Here's the root structure or something along those lines. And it is genuinely only attached right here. And that's the whole of this plant. So, we're up in this partially collapsed retainer wall, in the part that isn't collapsed. And we're going to go over there and look at proper bedstraw. Give me just a moment. Alright, so this is a wealthy person's bedstraw. And I want to show you both the similarities and the differences. It's this right here. So a wealthy person's bedstraw is not sticky at all. Flowers this time of year with these little white florets that you can probably see better from a distance because the light that I have on to make sure we can do this right now is kind of washing the colors out. But this has still got these little hairs all over it. And I do want to show you, it sticks. It's got grippy little hooks on it. This is commoner's bedstraw. But they're both called bedstraw. Now, I believe this is because, so both of these plants are native to Europe. And this plant is called sweet woodruff. And it is proper bedstraw. And this plant is also native to Europe. This plant grows slower, is more expensive to grow historically. And this plant is a heckin' weed. It'll get all up in your business if you let it. The only reason I'm bringing it in here and I'm okay with that is because it's not yet set any seed. It's not even flowering yet. It's a little early for that with this plant. But compare it to this plant. Can you really see the difference? It's got similar whorls, similar stalks with the ridges. It's a little more deeply ridged on cleavers. So let's talk about other common names. This is bedstraw or cleavers. This is bedstraw or sweet woodruff. The cleavers has got a deeper groove, but it's still a four-pointed groove. The cleavers has got fuzzy whorls of, I believe, 10, possibly 8, but I believe they're both 10. And the cleavers have got little white flowers that are later in the season. And the seeds, instead of being little crumbs, basically, that don't stick to anything, are what is the word for those things that grab onto your clothes that are seed pods? There's a word for that. It's a common word. Burrs. The cleavers have burrs, and they cleave onto you. That's another way to remember. The plant itself cleaves onto you. Early spring, which Wild Edibles is an Ontario area, give or take a little, way out in the sticks, somewhere near Ontario. They're a lot farther north, and so their cleavers are earlier and aren't grabby yet. So again, this is sweet woodruff, and this is cleavers. Sweet woodruff was the proper bedstraw. When this plant is dried, it smells really sweet. It's used as bookmarks historically, and when dried, it's used to pack mattresses because it smells sweet and it keeps the bugs away to some extent. Without smelling like nasty, it keeps bugs away while smelling nice. So they would keep it in libraries, and they would keep it as part of the richer person's, and that's this one we're talking about here, the wiggling one, as a richer person's mattress packing. Whereas this one, if you were poorer, you might pick this to help pack your mattress. This is cleavers. It'll grab onto you. It does both big whirls and small whirls. Here's the smaller whirl. There's the bigger whirl. These only do smaller whirls, and it spreads pretty slowly. But it does spread because all of the little flecks of white flower here are sweet woodruff. I started growing sweet woodruff in 1997, and I brought it to this house in 2003. It is now kind of all over the place and does sometimes need dug out for me to still be able to do other things in this area. But originally it was hard to get it started. It also traveled over into my raised bed when I used some of this soil here in this trench here to backfill my raised bed over there. So yes, every tiny little fleck of white, that's all sweet woodruff. And when it dries, it smells wonderful. It smells kind of like nothing while it's living, but the sweetness is why it gets its name, sweet woodruff. But they are both bedstraw, because if you're rich and you can afford to get some, this stuff is so good for medieval mattress packing. We are talking medieval era, when they would just put hay and stuff in sacks and have that as their mattress. This would keep the bugs away. But if you were poorer and this is what you could afford, grows like a weed, gets everywhere every year, and you could use it also to help pack your mattress. And so that's what bedstraw is. Straw that's good for your bedding. Whether it's sweet woodruff or cleavers. I'll look up the Latin names on these eventually. I'll put it either in a pinned comment or in the description, but not right away. So if I've forgotten and it's been a few hours or a couple days and I still don't have it, remind me and I'll go do that for you. But that's your comparison. I hope that's really helpful. And I'm going to feed these to the quailios. Let's go feed the quailios. Some bedstraw. Oop, I tripped. Some bedstraw and a little bit of woodruff. Well, I'm going to leave the woodruff out here because I'm not sure if it's edible. It's another thing. Cleavers. I know for positive you can use this as a cooked green. You can also make Wild Edibles cold brew tea with it. Boop. And the birds do like it a lot. Right now, the birds are feasting on invasive dead nettle, which is another European weed that's escaped and taken over the undergrowth here in Pennsylvania. We're in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania of the USA, with quail and a cliffside. I'm going to let this close. It's going to go bang a little bit. Quail and a cliffside and kitty cats that scream at me from underneath the lights. Laser beam eyes. And Let me see if I can turn off this light now. Yes, I can do that while I'm walking. How nice. I hope that me walking isn't too shaky. I turned on stabilization, but it's possible that turning on the light turned that back off. But thank you so much for visiting the cliffside. This has been plant identification in a permaculture setting. And I hope you're doing all right. Take care. By the way, Zone 6B, if that helps any. Bye.